Let's get into it right now. Let's talk about the artist promotion plan. This is section 8 of your artist business plan, and there's lots of little mini things within it, including promotion analysis, promotion objectives, promotion potential, promotion strategies, your communication strategies, co-op promotion, radio promotion, video promotion, performance promotion, independent promoters, and there's quite a bit to it. So let's start off with the analysis of your promotion. So the first thing that you're going to look at is to review the market and analyze the market that you want to promote into. So, for example, if we use the city of Cleveland and you want to market to the city of Cleveland, and you can replicate this for other cities, but it's the same basic general way to do this. You want to understand the market of Cleveland. That means you want to think about, okay, well, what's the average age of a concert goer? Or what's the average income of a person who downloads music? Or what's the average person like who does streaming? A little bit to know about your market. Are there places to play? What would be a good newspaper in town? How about a good magazine that maybe I can get some reviews or previews of the artist's art? Where is there good radio stations? Especially at the beginning, where's good college radio? So you want to kind of look at the market to kind of understand what it is you're about to get into. As you analyze your market, you'll be able to spot possible promotion opportunities. For example, if you see a radio station that is open-ended and they don't really have a format, it's a free-form format, most likely you'll be able to find a DJ or two or three that might be interested in playing your music on air. If there is a format, well, then it's a little bit more difficult, or it could be a little bit more difficult, let's put it that way. And then as far as press goes, wouldn't it be great to contact the major newspaper or the magazine, and you need to know about possibilities within that? Who's the music editor, for example? And getting to know the market. And then how are you going to establish communication with these media outlets? Are you going to call them on the phone? You're going to send them an email? Are you going to text them? Are you going to post something up online and hope they see it? But what is your communication objectives and how are you going to do it? When we get into news releases, I will tell you some hints that I use. And then what about a budget for your communication? If you're doing direct mail, that's 50 cents a stamp. So you have to think about your budget with this. If you're doing email, obviously it's free, but you still have to pay for the internet unless you're going to be doing it on your phone. You still got to pay for the phone. So there is a budget involved pretty much no matter how you decide to communicate. And then you're going to come up with a strategy. What's your promotional strategy to try and get an article in the newspaper or an interview on television or the radio or a mention online with maybe the cleveland.com or something like that? And then you're going to match your tactics with your strategies. So what's your tactic? What's your tactic to do this? Is it phone call? Is it mail and so forth? And then what's your strategy to do that? Okay, then what I'd like you to do is to look at your objectives. Okay, first of all, you have to understand that not everybody out there has heard of you. Oh, gee. Well, that means that you need to gain awareness. Now, just because now someone has heard of you does not mean that they are interested in you. Does not mean that they are knocking on your door to get a booking. It's not that easy. You're just creating awareness, a branding of your name. That's awareness. They've heard of you. Okay. And then after they've heard of you, how do you get them to pay attention to you? How do you acquire their lead, basically, so that they want to pay attention to you? So not only have they heard your name, but now they've heard your song on the radio. Maybe now they've read your article in the newspaper. Okay, that's number 2. And then thirdly, as an objective, how do you engage that customer? How do you get them to come to your gig? How do you get them to call the radio station and request your song? This is all part of the process. First of all the potential customers have to be aware. Then they have to pay attention to you somehow, some way, and then you need to engage with them. In other words, how can you get them to make a move so that they're either attending your show, downloading your music, buying your songs, however it's going to be? Those are your objectives. And it would be my suggestion that you be specific with your objectives. For example, the artist wants to have a 10% rise in listeners on Reverb Nation by the end of April. You've set a goal, you've set the objective, you've given yourself a time frame, it's realistic, it can happen, and it's a short amount of time period. So be specific with your objectives. Set a deadline date, and what is it that you want to accomplish by that deadline date for your promotion? Okay, here's some other samples. And there's no deadline dates on here, but it is a sample. Increase awareness of the artist. Oh, that's the awareness thing. And attract new fan customers. Number 2, increase your music sample rate on Reverb Nation. Okay. Number 3, increase awareness of the artist again by attracting new talent buyers. Remember, we said there are 2 types of customers: fan customers and music industry customers. So now you want to attract new talent buyers. Objective number 4 might be to increase awareness of your merch. So how do you do that? Well, maybe make some announcements from stage, maybe put it on your homepage of your website, maybe to send out some emails to your fans and say, hey, we got a new t-shirt, new hoodie, new whatever. And here's another sample. Increase awareness of the songwriter to a variety of music publishers. Okay, they're all valid objectives, except I didn't put the dates on here. I would recommend that you put dates, deadline dates. It pushes you a little bit better. Okay? All right, now the next thing that we're going to look at is your promotion potential. What is the potential for your promotion? Once you've done your analysis, your promotion analysis of the market, what's the potential of getting this happening? Obviously, not every section of the newspaper is going to write about you. So if we're just looking at the plain dealer only, where would you want to be in the plain dealer? I would think you want to be in the Sunday edition under the arts section, and potentially, maybe more importantly, you want to be in Friday magazine on Fridays. You don't necessarily want to be in the gardening section. So it all depends on what it is, but throughout just the magazine, the potential that you're going to be aiming at are those 2 things. One of them is the art section on Sundays, and the other one is your Friday magazine article. Great. Okay, that's good. So you're going to look at your promotion strategies to do this through your potential. First of all, you want to inform the audience. So this is building awareness again. And then persuade them to come to your gig or do a download or do a stream or something along those lines. And then to remind them, because I don't know about you guys, but I get a lot of requests to go to shows and so forth and so on and streaming, and it, sometimes I forget. Sometimes I write it down, but something else takes precedent. So an artist that reminds me gets extra branding going on. And by doing this, you're going to attract new customers. You're going to be able to sell to existing customers. You're going to aid your distributors. You're going to stabilize your sales. You're going to boost your branding recognition of your name. You're going to create new sales leads. This might be especially important for talent buyers. You want to be able to differentiate your product and let people know why they should be purchasing it. And then influence your decision makers, which could be a music director or a music editor or a talent buyer, once again. Okay, the next section is about how are you going to communicate with them? What's your strategy? Yeah, there's lots of different ways you can communicate. One of the best ways to communicate is face-to-face. You get to know somebody. Networking and relationship building. Did we talk about that already? I think so. That's the best possible way, is face-to-face. So at a gig, for example, you're face-to-face with your audience. So when the show's over, go out to the merch table and become even closer to your audience face-to-face. Get to know them. Have them get to know you. It's important. Remember, you attract fans one at a time. If you want a gig at a venue, it's a lot easier to get the gig if you go to the venue and meet the talent buyer. A lot easier than calling them on the phone and say, hey, I'd like to get a booking at your club. So these are things to think about. How are you going to communicate with your audience? How are you going to make sure that they understand what your message is? I like doing lots of different types of communication. Lots of times I will send out direct mail. Many times I'll send out a postcard. Many times I'll send out a flyer, or I'll drop flyers off, or put up posters at coffee shops or libraries or wherever there's a bulletin board open to the public. And I have lists of where they are in Cleveland, and I have street teams that do these things. I do it in various cities. I have this same setup in many, many cities across the United States because I'm promoting things, or I'm having the artists promote themselves. I need to give them a little background on what they're getting into. So consider the way that you're going to communicate with the fans and the music industry. Branding, branding, branding. Every time you get your name in front of them, it's another little thing that they're thinking about. And when you call them or when you stop in to see them, they will be able to connect that branding with the art. And that's an important strategy to make. But I do like face-to-face whenever possible because it works. And I've had it worked in many different ways. So I thought I would just make sure that you understand that. Okay, how about co-op promotion? Very easy to do, and it works. Many artists overlook this. Co-op promotions means cooperative, meaning you're co-promoting with someone else. A perfect example would be a gig swap. The artist calls another artist in another city or a nearby region and offers them a gig as an opener for their show. And they call the people, and then they say, in return, we'd like to come and play your market and be exposed to your fans. So what happens here with a gig swap type of situation is that the artist will come to your hometown, maybe come to your best gig that you have, be your opening act, and be exposed to your fans. In return, you're going to go to that area's or that artist's region or city or club that they're very popular in, hopefully, and be able to be attracted and exposed to their fans. So something to consider when you're doing co-op promotions. This also works well with endorsers, people that might want to endorse the artist. And I see this happening with like guitars and drum companies and so forth who are doing an endorsement deal with an artist. So what would happen is that let's just say it's SIT Strings. They make guitar strings in Akron. And let's just say that you went to them and you said, we'd like to see if you'd be interested in endorsing the guitar player in our group. And they might say, well, what do you have in mind? And you would respond by saying, well, we'd like to receive free strings from you. In return, every time we play a gig, we're going to mention that we get our strings from SIT. That way the audience gets exposed and branded to that possibility. So anybody else who's a guitar player might say, hey, you guys sound pretty good. I like that sound. Where did you get your strings? And you can say, hey, we got them at SIT. That's a co-op promotion. You're exposing their brand and they're exposing you or helping you out through that endorsement. Many times those endorsements will also put a picture of the artist on their website. And if you do it right, you can get a link from that picture or name of the artist on the endorser's website to come directly to your website. And as you may or may not know, Google rankings are influenced by how many links are coming to you. And that way, the more links you have coming into you, the bigger rating and the higher number on the charts of Google do you get. Certainly don't want to be on page 50 if someone's looking for Cleveland music. You want to be up in the top page or two. Only makes sense. Okay, so that would be a co-op promotion idea. Now, clubs do this all the time as well. So they'll call a radio station and they'll say, hey, we'd like to give you some tickets to give away on the radio. And in return, we'll mention and put up your banner at our club. That's a co-op promotion. The radio station gives away the tickets and mentions the club name, and the club has a banner at the nightclub showing the call letters of the radio station. That's a co-op promotion. So there's lots of little ways that this can be done. You just have to understand what it is and then think outside the box to make it work. Okay? Now the next part is radio promotion. Okay, so this can be difficult. This can be difficult depending on what it is that you're trying to get happening. Many artists hire an independent, we're going to talk about an independent radio promoter in just a minute, but they hire a promotion company to do the promotion for them. Other artists, they do their own radio promotion, and that's fine. Either way could work. In Cleveland, trying to get airplay on a commercial radio station for an unknown artist is virtually impossible. You need to show that you've got something happening first. And that's why I recommend that you contact college radio. We're very fortunate in Cleveland to have 5 good college radio stations. Many cities only have 1 or 2. But in Cleveland, we have 5 good ones. And in Akron, there's 2 more. And Kent's got a pretty good station as well. But in Cleveland, it's Cleveland State. They got WCSB. We also have John Carroll, which is WJCU. Now, that's a AAA format, just so you know. Cleveland State is freeform. That means the disc jockey chooses what they're going to play. John Carroll, on the other hand, is AAA, which means they have a music director, and he selects the music that's going to be played from, I believe it's 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. And then after 5 p.m., they go freeform. So the disc jockeys can choose what they want. but it's a good station. A lot of people are listening to WJCU. Case Western Reserve has a good radio station, WRUW. They do have a music director, but it's freeform. So the freeform means, once again, that the disc jockeys can choose the music. Oberlin College has got a good station as well, WOBC. And Baldwin Wallace also has a good station. And they do try and keep it AAA as well, but I believe it's more freeform, and that is WBWC. Get to know these stations. If you're going to be in your car radio, it's left of 92. So any stations that are left of 92.0 are going to be nonprofit radio stations and college radio stations. So you might find some religious stations in there. You might find some college stations, as I just mentioned, and it's eclectic. So you need to kind of tune in to who's who and what's what in order to make that work. And then if you just do a Google search of college radio stations, you can find a lot more. But radio promotion means that you're going to be calling the radio station, requesting your song, getting to know the radio station DJs, getting to know who they are. And once again, you want a chart. Many of these radio stations have charts, and they release those charts to the CMJ, College Media Journal. The College Media Journal is also another one of those companies that does charting that reflects in your PRO. So it's not just Billboard. CMJ also does it. So those go into the algorithms that we just discussed with your PRO, trying to make sure that the songwriters get paid. And then obviously there's internet radio, and you can do a lot with that by establishing channels to try and get on playlists and that kind of thing. So there's a lot to do with radio, and you do need to attack it diligently in order to get some airplay. It's not impossible. It's a lot of work. That's why a lot of artists hire others to do this for them. Okay, video promotion strategy. Where can you get some video played of the artist? Well, obviously YouTube, right? The artist can have their own channel on YouTube, but how do you get people to come to it? Well, links. Yes, you can have links from your website or from your Facebook accounts or those kind of things. And YouTube is very, very, very popular. Unfortunately, with censorship, they are taking things down, but they're leaving a lot of music up there. Make sure that when you do put music up there, that it's copyrighted. Same with radio. You don't want to just put it up there. Make sure it's registered copyright with the U.S. Copyright Office. And don't put any cover songs up on YouTube, especially. Now you'll say, well, other people do it. Yeah, they might, but you run the risk of them pulling down your whole channel. And then if that's the case, who are you going to call to get your channel back up? Can't call anybody at YouTube. So you can send them an email and you can object to their pulling it down, and maybe in a year they might get around to doing that. In the meantime, you've lost a lot of momentum. Don't put up any cover material on YouTube. Call the publisher, tell them you're interested in using a song of theirs and you'd like permission. They'll give you a license, and then you can put it up on YouTube for a fee, because they're going to charge you for the licensing. And just so you know, it is negotiable. That's much better than having your channel pulled down because you're, illegally using. It's copyright infringement. You're illegally using somebody else's copyright. Think about it from your perspective. You might say, well, yeah, everyone can use it because then people get exposed to my music. Okay. So these are things that you just have to consider. Okay, how are you going to promote your gigs? Section 8.10. How are you going to promote your gigs? Many times they have this thing called pay to play, which I am dead against, but it happens. where an artist goes to a talent buyer and says, hey, we'd like to play your venue. And the talent buyer says, well, that sounds great. Here's 50 tickets. Go sell the tickets and bring back the money, and then we'll be able to give you your gig. And the artist is like, well, I'm an artist. I'm a songwriter. I rehearse. I'm doing my job. Your job is to be the talent buyer and to be the promoter and promote the shows. And the talent buyer says, well, this is the way that I promote. I get the artist to do the selling of the tickets for me. I would assume most of you have heard about this. It's a pay-to-play situation. So how are you going to promote your gigs? Obviously, put it up on your website. Where else? Well, you can put it up on your Facebook accounts and some of your other social media accounts. That would be fine. Okay, but you need to figure out a way to promote your gigs. How about flyering? How about a street team? How about posters? How about email? How about phone calls to your fans? That works. Phone calls work really well. A lot of artists don't want to take the time to make phone calls, but I would recommend it. Get to know your fans. Okay, how are you going to promote your gigs? Think about your plan for that and then put it into this section of your artist business plan. Okay, independent promoters, section 8.11. These are people that don't have a stake within the artist's business, but are doing work for the artist. The company, there's two companies that I like. One of them is called Tinderbox. Tinderbox is an independent radio promoter in Minnesota. I believe they're in Minneapolis. They have a staff of people that call radio stations. They send out copies of your CDs and they try and get airplay. Now, what will happen is if you were to call Tinderbox and you said, hey, I'd like to maybe do some business with you. Tell me what you do. And they'll explain it all to you. And then they'll say, okay, what kind of budget do you have? Obviously, everyone's in business to make money, right? Just like you are. So you have a budget for your promotion of your recording. I get it. Okay, so you tell them, okay, well, I've got $5,000. I got $10,000, whatever number it's going to be. I've got some money to help promote this. And they're like, well, I don't know what we can do nationwide for $5,000. And you said, well, I want to do a test market. I want to pick out a couple cities and only promote to those cities just to kind of see what kind of reaction I get. Okay, well, that's fair. We can do that for you. So pick out 2 or 3 cities and let's see what we can do about promotion. Then they'll send out the CDs to select radio stations. And then they'll call them on the phone and say, hey, did you get the CD I sent you? Yeah, can you play it? Well, we've got some others in line. Well, I need you to really play this one. And it's a new client of ours. We really believe in this client, and we're doing some test marketing and so forth and so on. So Tinderbox will then promote that artist to that market, and then they'll give you the feedback on how that's working for you. Great idea. Okay. So this is the kind of thing that you want to think about with an independent promoter. Now you can see why it costs so much for radio promotion as opposed to record production. And that's why it's important before you get into producing a recording that you understand what you're going to do with your promotion. Very important concept here. Think about it. Where are you going to promote your record once it's recorded? Once it's produced and ready to go, where are you going to promote it and how much money do you have to promote it? Many artists say, oh, we put all our money that we had into our recording. Okay. That means you're going to sell it at your gigs only because you don't have any money left over to promote it. It's not in your budget. You didn't think it through. You went into the recording studio, you hurried up to do it wrong. Yeah, you got a great recording, that's fine, but you can't promote it, so that's not so fine. You got to have a budget for your promotion. And independent promoters can help you with this. And they have the contacts, they have the network, they have the relationships, and you pay them for that. It's not always cheap, but it is a good way to go from that perspective. Okay, so what is your promotion plan? This is where it all goes in. What is the plan to promote? So in this section of your business plan for artists, for the artist, the plan for promotion. So you're going to take all those little sections, you're going to crunch them all down, and you're going to put it into 8.01. Because this is all section 8 about promotion. Okay, before I get into any stories about this, are there any questions that I can answer for you?